Howdy y'all, Stock Warden here, back with another video. In today's video, we're touching back base on Palantir to kind of show how they've started coming along, coming out of their huge 20% over the course of the year's bear trend. And they finally have started to level out a little bit, got a little bit of a solid resistance that you can kind of see over here in the upper 130s. If we just punch a line where they closed on Friday at 137, we can turn over here and pull all the way across, and you can see pretty much since the start of February they've been pushing on the resistance on this bottom end line here. So there's no point in trying to go all the way back into July of last year to try to come out with some type of long, hard stretched resistance line that I've seen some people trying to pull out. But as it stands right now, in the short term, they continue punching this upper 130 line, trying to get into the 140s for a new breakout on the resistance. So, and they're kind of showing somewhat of a bottom line where they ended up at the lowest peak at 126.37 just back this past Tuesday. So with that being the lowest point, you can kind of bridge across and see over the past couple of weeks, it really has not been touching too much on that lower resistance line. So more or less with them kind of floating within this roughly $10 to $15 range, it's showing a pretty good and consistent tight resistance line for them to either stay between, for them to break out, having more bull days than bear days. So here soon we should hopefully see another breakout of being able to come out of this bear slump that we've been in for the course of 2026. And there is some good news, but it is riding on the fence line again, depending on how this government complex is going to be. So while making this video, it has now been after the attack on Iran. So we have a lot to discuss whenever it comes to Palantir, in knowing that they have a huge government standpoint and how a lot of their big bills and big contracts are through the government and the Department of War with all of their AI-based service. So, but they're also in with so many other companies that is also kind of pinging Palantir on the backside where it could start making them look bad. And a lot of the stuff, what I mean by that is, if you look at the company Anthropic and the CEO, Dario Amodei, he ended up having an ultimatum from Hegseth for Friday to be able to grant the military unrestricted access to Claude, which is their system, and either to grant them unrestricted access or face being designated a supply chain risk. So, and they ended up coming out and saying that threats do not change their position. We cannot, in good conscience, accede to their request, which is what Amodei said on Thursday, which was just hours after Pete Hegseth's spokesman posted the deadline out on X. So, but if you look at the other side, under the Secretary of War, Emil Michael responded by calling Amodei a liar who has a God complex and wants nothing more than to try to personally control the U.S. military. So with that, having the Polymarket contract asking, will Pete Hegseth ban Claude by March 31st? That's something that is a huge would be a huge blow, because Palantir is in the crossfire with Anthropic, because Palantir Technology runs Claude on classified networks through its Maven smart system. So the model was reportedly used during the January operation when they captured the Venezuelan president Nicolas Maduro, and so Claude is integrated through Palantir's infrastructure. So if Hegseth follows through, the Pentagon could designate Anthropic a supply chain risk, which is a label normally reserved for foreign adversaries and also people that don't have America's base and country at heart to be first. Then that would require every Pentagon contractor, including Palantir, to certify that it does not use anthropic products if they were to go through with that. So that would be a massive blow to Palantir, considering they use Claude for so many things. So hopefully that doesn't happen, because just this news alone on a possibility could end up sparking huge sell-offs in itself. So, but if you turn around and kind of look at some of the other side of Palantir, not just looking at this one issue for Claude, which Palantir, I am sure, is going to start immediately looking for a different base that they can use instead of Claude. So, because Palantir's Maven Smart System is modeled so if whenever Claude gets pulled, then Palantir is going to swap in a new replacement to be able to keep the contract. So technically, the episode could specifically strengthen Palantir's position by proving to the Pentagon that they cannot operate without Palantir's platform. Because then, once they're able to get rid of Claude and swap into a new system, and be able to show more that Palantir is even more for America and based in America, like with Americans' values and the country at heart through the administration, then that could definitely push Palantir in the uptrend. And that is seen hugely by UBS, because UBS has now upgraded Palantir to a buy with a $180 price target on Thursday. So with a new price target coming from UBS being at 180, that's a lot better than where a lot of the new price targets that have come in have been on a neutral ground, sitting anywhere between 140 to 155 a share. But now with this integration coming in, where Palantir is possibly going to have a backup system and not even have to rely on Anthropic, then that'll just prove even more how strong Palantir is, to where it's still going to show that Palantir is going to be a huge one-stop shop. So that'll be once again yet another blow to all the rest of the AI companies, to all the rest of the software companies, and to continue pushing Palantir to stay even more relevant and to be in the spotlight once again. So, and all of that is in a positive light. So, with the price of the stock being as low as it is right now, it also could be a really good time to spark a whole new set of buy-ins to be able to spark just that much more growth. And also, still with the company's earnings going straight up nonstop, the earnings are not necessarily showing what the stock is showing anymore. Used to, for the past year of 2025, it showed the stock going consistently up and down with the consistency of the earnings report, plus all of the positive news reports that had always been coming in with Palantir through the many contracts that they've been able to acquire, plus they're ever so much expanding into a commercial and residential standpoint, and not just in the government standpoint. So with all of that, I hope y'all enjoy the video. I hope y'all were able to get a little bit more information on where Palantir is positioned for the next 30 days somewhat. So it's not to say that it couldn't change drastically depending on the new operating system and also if Anthropic is going to play ball with the U.S. Department of War or not. So definitely pay attention to those specific news articles. If they come in, they will be on a hot streak for sure, especially now that that strike has went down in Iran. So, and them ended up killing the Ayatollah. So that's all I've got for this video. So I hope y'all enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next one. So this is the Stock Warden riding off. See y'all come back now, you hear?